Hey, welcome! So today we're going to dig into something that at first glance looks super simple but is actually hiding a pretty fascinating puzzle. We're calling it the Bluetooth opt-out protocol. So this is it. This is the entire text we're working with today. Just two short sentences. It reads like a really clear, straightforward instruction, doesn't it? You've got a title, an action, and a method. Seems like everything we need to know is right there. But is it really? So what we're going to do here is pull this whole thing apart, piece by piece, to see what it's actually telling us, and maybe more importantly, what it's leaving out. Okay, let's dive into this. All right, so first things first. Let's break this down into its most basic parts. And the most logical place to start? The subject. What exactly is the thing we're being asked to opt out? Okay, so Bluetooth address. Now, you and I probably have a pretty good idea of what that is, technically, but here's the game we're going to play. Let's pretend we only know what's in these two sentences. Based on that alone, what do we really know? So let's be super strict about this. Using only the text we were given, what can we actually figure out about a Bluetooth address? Let's look at the clues. If we stick only to the source text, this is literally all we've got. It says it's something we have. It says your Bluetooth address. We know it can be opted out and that this whole process involves a link. And that's it. No real definition, no explanation of what it does or why it matters. And boom, right away, we've hit our first big gap in understanding. Okay, so the what is super vague. What about the do? Let's look at the action it's telling us to take. What does opt out actually mean in this context? So this is the verb, right? The main command, opt out. It sounds like we have a choice, like we're deciding to leave something or withdraw from something. But that just begs the next question, doesn't it? I mean, think about it. You opt out of something, right? A mailing list, a program, a subscription. So what are we opting out from? What's the system we're removing this address from? Let's check the source again. And this is where it gets really interesting. The source only tells us what to opt out, our address, but it completely leaves out what we're opting out from. Who's asking us to do this, and for what reason? The text is just totally silent. All right, so we've got a vague subject and a vague action. But the how, the mechanism, that seems pretty clear, right? It says to use a link. Let's take a look at that last part. The following link. This is supposed to be the key, the one tool we need to get this done. So what exactly is the process here? The instruction is use the following link. Pretty simple. So what are the actual steps involved if we just go by what the text says? And yeah, there you have it. The process is just use the link. It's completely circular. It gives us a tool, but tells us absolutely nothing about what happens when we use it. What information do we need to enter? How do we even know if it worked? So we've taken these two tiny sentences apart. And what do we find? A whole lot of nothing, really. Which brings us to the real point here. It's not about what the source says. It's about everything it doesn't say. And this slide just lays it all out, crystal clear. On the left, you have what the source says. And on the right, everything it's hiding. We don't know the what, the who, the why, or the what happens if I do, or what happens if I don't. This instruction is basically an empty shell. And that really gets to the heart of it all. This source gives us information. Sure, it gives us words. But without any context, it's not knowledge. It's just a command with no reason behind it. A choice without any real understanding. So what are the big takeaways here? First, you've always got to ask who's talking and why. Second, just because something sounds simple and direct doesn't mean it's not hiding something, or in this case, hiding everything. And finally, context is king. It's absolutely essential for making a smart decision. So I'm just going to leave you with this question to think about. We live in a world that's just full of links and buttons and pop-ups, so how often do we actually click that link without ever stopping to ask what it really means? This whole exercise is a pretty powerful reminder to always look for the why behind the what.